Welcome back to another Blood Angels tutorial. This time it's Mephiston. And here's how I painted up the model, and I'll just walk you through all the steps I got to get me there. Okay, so started out with a white primer, which is not usually how I do this, but got a Mecherite red and a Bal red sort of base coat here, so just working on all the basic red parts. And a little bit of highlighting there with blood red. Now I end up doing this chest bit here differently, so don't worry about that for now. So you can see there, same sort of red on his power armor, unfortunately, as this. So I try to differentiate that a little bit later, and a bit of sand on the base. Okay, so now here we go. Tolarian flesh on his face. That's the base coat there. We got Mordium blue on the plasma gun as well as the power sword. Scorched brown on his gloves. As well as some of these edges here. Those are going to be like a non-metallic gold kind of a look. And Khemri brown on anything that's going to be bone. This bright skin triad is going to be what's in the middle here, but again, I haven't, I kind of experimented there and didn't cape with that. Okay, so this back cloak, I'm doing this clotted red triad. So that's the bloodstained red base there. And there I am working up the colors, so there's clotted red on there, and actually that was probably all three. Okay, so now I'm working on here. So this is the bright shadow and bright skin. It's kind of an orangey skin tone, and I thought that would look kind of different on this guy. And so you can see how that goes, and then I kind of layered in some red washes in there to try to get a bit more differentiation. I got bolt gun metal base coats here on the end of the plasma gun, hilt of the sword, and bit of his psychic hood, as well as on the back here, little bits there. Okay, and so I used a Griffin Sepia wash there, and you'll see the colors for his hair in a second, as well as Devlin mud on all of these bone areas. Okay, so there's the non-metallic gold sort of a look. I use this for blonde hair as well. I find that it works decent. So there's the base coat there of chestnut gold, and then I'm doing these bone triads here on all of the skull stuff. So you can see there, I'm trying to build it up. It's hard to see in this picture just because of the exposure, but this bone shadow goes nicely over top of a Devlin mud washed Khemri brown. And then these two here are nice highlights. Okay, now for all of the angel wings or whatever, they're kind of a gray color. I'm doing them these gray triad here, and just because of the colors of the model, you don't really need to go all the way up to white. At least that's what I find. And I'm using a bit of those grays to highlight some of the black areas as well. There you can see the blonde hair kind of coming through a bit, and that's the same colors, and I used those as well on these edges here, just kind of giving it a bit of a gold, pseudo gold look. And there's I think that's the lightest color on there now. Okay, so now I'm working on the power sword here, and so Mordium blue is the base, and then I'm just using these blues from Reaper, and this ghost white, which is just a slight off white, and that'll go in the middle. So I'm just building each color up in sort of layers and trying to blend it as much as I can at the edges, and then the next color kind of goes in the middle. And then at the very end I use this ghost white to try to give myself a nice sharp edge around everything as well as down the middle. Okay, now for the face, Ogren flesh wash and then elf flesh, and then mixing that maybe with a bit of bleached bone just to give myself some of the edge highlights there. And doing a little bit of a scorched brown eyes there. They're not really too obvious because his pupils aren't white, but just a hint of the eyes. Now I'm working on these leather gloves, so I'm using this Reaper triad here, this ruddy leather, which is similar to scorched brown, and then building it up in those other colors there. So you can see that's the oiled leather on there, and the burnt orange. And just about wrapping it up. Okay, so now all the gemstones and vials of blood. So I started with a scab red and worked up to a blaze orange there. I left kind of a black line in the middle, on these ones here, as well as that there's a little vial right there, and then highlighted the top half with a bit of grays. And that's it. Pretty simple model altogether. Mine was a bit of a bad cast. It's an old metal model. Actually, this is an ancient model. I remember when it came out back in 2nd edition, but I had a bad mold line right through the middle, and I didn't really repair it before I started painting. So that's what I got, but it turned out quite well and it looked nice on the table. Can't wait to play with this guy. He's quite the beast in the new codex. There's one close up. And with the power sword there. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this, and check my channel for more, or check out my blog for upcoming stuff and work in progress shots. See you next time.